Alright, so we're back for part two. We got Leon here today to help us with some of the fabrication side of things. The goal of today is to start cutting out the firewall to make room for the new firewall, but we have to remove a couple things like the steering column and the brake booster and whatever else gets in the way. We'll cut out all the bad stuff, and the metal shops aren't open today, so we can't get any new metal today, but it'll be instantaneous for you guys. So join us. Done. Like a NASCAR. Much easier to take the trans out now.
And the engine.
And the engine, everything. Just leave it open.
Maybe we'll leave some of this in here to keep it rigid.
Besides getting a lot of the old firewall out, we also nipped off a couple other little things that were bothering me over time. There's probably still some more to clean up, but we'll get there when we get there. Leon grabbed a piece of sheet metal out of his shed, and it's already looking better. Like, open window, a little bit closed off. This isn't the actual piece we're going to use.
That's just the smallest piece that would fit that I had. So.
It's amazing how it just holds itself up too. It's funny because it looks like the brake lines are already connected to it.
Yeah, because we don't actually have to move any of this back. It's in this area that kind of we're going to recess.
Yeah. I would like more serviceability out of this. I'd like to be able to access things without struggling. Like, I know it's a big engine slammed into a small car, but since this is all being remade, there's no reason we can't make it the way we want it to be. So I got some cardboard and Leon started going to town, and he was thinking, what about like an engine bay dress-up kit, essentially? So we can do all the structural stuff underneath and not have to worry about it being so pretty, but we can box it in, and that hides all the old crap really well. And then we'll just cut two holes, one on this side, one on that side, and then a cover plate so that we can still get to the strut towers, because underneath, go ahead, rip it up. Like, aw. Underneath, there's nothing else to try and get to. There is nothing over here. There's the fuel lines, but they're underneath, and they still will be. They'll still be accessible with that whole shield in place.
Plus, I think putting the piece like that with the two bends in it will stiffen everything for the front end up as well. So.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic idea. So we'll still put the firewall in first, and then we'll butt these pieces, made out of metal, obviously not cardboard, up to the firewall, and then I guess weld around the seam, and then probably weld along all up here, but still giving us access for the little support. And it's made it this long through the build. I don't think we should get rid of it yet.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, I think that's a really good idea. The brake booster and master cylinder stuff isn't going to be there anymore. The new system's going to replace it completely, probably on the inside of the car. So I think that's definitely an idea worth pursuing. Good job, Leon.
Oh, thanks.
So we went to the store, got a couple of little grinding things, and Leon's got a flapper disc that he's been using. So the idea is I'm going to go in here and clean up this, look like this, just within seconds. It's amazing. So then we got down to the bare metal right there, and I guess my goal now is going to be to clean all of this off so that we can shoot it with some primer. And then when it comes time for welding, we're going to grind off the new primer along here, and then we can start to fold everything in. I do really like the idea that Leon had of covering all this up, because I still need to get behind here to access wiring and all that kind of stuff, but I can do that from underneath the car. So this is really like a dress up, but it's going to completely seal everything in. I think it'll look really nice when it's done. So we're going to go ahead and spend some time using the flapper discs and stuff to get all this all cleaned up. You can see where we got down to bare metal pretty quickly. So we'll check back in when we've got that done. So we got her scuffed up pretty good, mostly clean enough for this anyway. Same on the other side. So we're going to find a way to cover up these, and then we'll spray it down with some primer, and then we'll show you. So we were going to tape this up, but they're just $300 coilovers for all four, so I don't care if it gets paint on it.
Yeah, plus all this is gonna get covered up anyways, so. But we did kind of want to clean it up so it's not complete trash underneath.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like
bit.
trash now, but boy, it's gonna look pretty good when it's done. It'll still be trash though. I forget how much you love painting.
I don't love painting. I just paint everything I have though.
Leon went ahead and put a second coat of the primer on. Again, a lot of this is going to get taken back off or resprayed, but we still have a lot to do. And I believe our next step is to either do the firewall piece or do some more interior removal. You see that massive gap between the yellow and the gray interior panels? I need to weld all that up. So I need to mark some of the interior panels so that I know where to cut them in the future. So the good news is, while we're waiting for the sheet metal so that we can finish up the firewall, there's lots of other things we can do. For example, removing interior plastics, because as you can see in the back here, I did a terrible job the first time around. So all of these pieces were just kind of slammed inside, and then I just trimmed up the metal until everything cleared. Now what we need to do is follow this line with a Sharpie, go all the way down and follow the sheet metal floor so that I can take this whole plastic piece off, trim it all up with some sort of tool, and then put it back on, but then we'll be able to bridge the gap between here and the actual wall behind the plastic. And of course we have to do the same on the other side. Not only that, but we got to get rid of these. These were from the cage that was on this thing when it was a cart. So now that it's a full shell and much safer, we don't need them anymore, or at least not in this location. If I was to put another cage in here, which I'm not against, it'd be built around this shell, nice and tucked. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go. Better already. Yep, that fits much better now. Now I suppose we'll work on getting this old harness bar out. Easy peasy. You just gotta do that 3 more times. Another thing while we're in here, this wiring harness, I believe, pretty sure, is from the Miata. And I think I saved it for all of the original tail light and trunk light assemblies. So we don't need any of it, so let's get rid of it. Wow, now doesn't that look better? So the good news is I'm on the last one. The bad news is I burnt up all my cutoff wheels and the Sawzall's just not cutting it. The other good news is I can fatigue the metal to where it'll just give way. Here's my example. Yep, like that. Yep, these work good till they don't. Anyway, we got a bunch more metal out of the back of the car. So we're looking like this. Much better than a freaking rod coming out of it. That one's not great. That one's probably the best one of the group. And you can also see the plates that were used to reinforce the cage. Anyway, so I got some more of the gas tank pulled apart, obviously, safety first. And I'm not sure if I can do what I wanted to do. My point was to cut out this whole section here, anything that's raised, and then cut out the floor so that I can recess a flat pan of a fuel cell. But I'm not sure I have enough room now before I hit the diff. So I need to do a little bit more research with that. Also, I'm not sure if I'm going to need these old strut braces when I'm done. So like all the plastics go around here and they kind of box it in, but they don't. They come around here and then go over here. Well, theoretically, this isn't doing anything anymore. And all this is doing is holding us to the body right here. So once we stitch all this in, I don't need this anymore. All of it. So those 2 pieces could be gone and it would just be a flat sheet. And I can make that out of cardboard or plexiglass or anything really. Sheet metal, I don't care. So we'll have to think on that for a little bit. So from the template came the new metal piece. And after a bunch of fudging and grinding and cutting and trimming.
A little bit of crying.
A little bit of crying. It's ready to get tacked in. So obviously we don't have the trans tunnel cut out yet, but we will get there soon. So we're gonna go ahead and do a couple tacks and see if we can form both walls together.
Alright. Ooh, got me good, sucker! Do I learn? Alright. On to the next. I just wanted to get it so it was stiffening up a little bit.
Heck yeah.
Alright.
So, Leon went a little bit above and beyond and patched in both of those sections. So now, when we rock the boat, the whole car moves together instead of separating
Pretty good.
two halves before.
Not bad for half a day's work.
Yeah,
If we did this the first time, we wouldn't be doing it again.
that's true.
Oh, except for the blown motor. Okay, yeah, we got some primer. I'm not gonna do the ends because I'm still gonna do some more welding.
Yeah, starting to actually look like a car. Seam sealer is going to take care of any of the additional gaps. I think that's where we're going to end this episode. It may not seem like a ton of progress, but we got a lot done over the last 2 weeks. Next, I'm going to start working in the rear of the car, removing the original Festiva suspension components. And yeah, stay tuned. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching.